Two firms, same city. One firm works 60 hours a week on average, as far as the firm owner goes, charging about $75 an hour. The other firm, same city, 40 hours a week, earns about $200 an hour for her services. And the decision or the reason for this boils down to one strategic decision. And I'm Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, and I'm showing firm owners how to be able to double their income working half the time. So the solution I'm talking about today isn't really about raising your rates. The accountant that's working $200, charging $200 an hour, basically she did one thing that tripled her revenue. And before we go any further, I want you to do some calculations. So what is your actual true hourly rate? It's not just what you charge for your hour, but it's what you actually earn. So when you factor in the scope creep, maybe proposal prep, client emails, unpaid admin time, and those quick questions, then that affects the hourly rate that you charge. So once you factor in all those things, what is your actual hourly rate? And once you get that, hold that number in your mind, because I want to show you how you can shift that in order to be able to double your revenues. And you don't need to work any additional hours or chase clients, because that's exhausting. Who wants to do that? And what I'm talking about is the ROI, the cost of a generalist versus a specialist. And think about it. When you are a generalist, Monday morning, maybe you're Googling construction accounting basics because you just have a new client that came on board that needs those services and they have a construction business. And then Tuesday, you're diving deep into restaurant profits and inventory and food cost percentages. Then Wednesday, you are shifting gears once again. You're looking at e-commerce tax, maybe for a Shopify store, and you're learning about that for the first time, which could be quite the rabbit hole. And then Thursday, you're back to the contractor again. But some of the things that you've figured out on Monday when you were working on that account, you didn't retain, so you had to go back and start learning those things all over again. So those are some of the problems that happen when you work with a wide range of industries, and you're doing a little bit for a lot of different people. And it is what I call the context switching penalty, the context switching penalty, because as firm owners, you are working a lot of hours. You could be working 50, 60 hours a week and still feel like you're behind. You're not quite catching up. And that is the reality for so many firm owners that I speak with. So here's some of the things that it's actually costing you. So once again, let's get into the ROI. Is there might be a longer sales cycle if you're not charging the lowest rates available. And that means that you are constantly tailoring your proposals for the specific industries and that particular client's specific needs. And then there might be price resistance, because without any specialization, then sometimes the rate you charge becomes your only differentiator. They might say, why would I pay this when I know I can get it over here for this? I hear that all the time. And they might be comparing you to QuickBooks Live, and then you know you can't compete on those rates no matter what your hourly rate is. And then the other thing is that you have to probably customize everything for your clients, because of the fact that each industry has some slightly different needs. That means that there are no streamlined systems, and it makes it difficult to create templates. The other thing is fewer referrals, because people don't actually know who to send your way. And as a result of that, you might get a lot of those low quality clients who are just looking for as cheap as possible, but they want all the extras without paying for it. And then the other thing is you might actually experience imposter syndrome, where you might be second guessing yourself. You feel like you're always behind. You have to research some nuances because you don't know the specifics for a particular industry. And when you are trying to serve everyone, the clients that you really want to work with, those quality clients, they are hiring specialists because those specialists speak their language. They understand how to solve the exact problems for that person's particular industry. And I want to just have you think about this. The real risk is by staying invisible and blending in because you're trying to be everything to everyone. If you choose one, then what happens if someone over here doesn't know about you, it doesn't come to you, and you know that you can help them. And it's that loss aversion that keeps you stuck. So choosing a niche and a specialty actually makes your firm more secure, not less. And I want to just share about a recent conversation with Julie because her numbers aren't theoretical, they're real. And Julie has a 4-person accounting firm. And when we first met, she worked with a wide range of clients. She had the general contractors, she had the restaurants, she had some e-commerce. She was all over the place. And she was doing okay. She was bringing about $365,000 a year in revenues. She was working about 58 hours a week herself. That has nothing to do with her team. And the value of a client averaged about $59,000 for the year. But the thing is that Julie was constantly stressed out. She was exhausted. There were some things about cash flow that weren't as predictable as she would like it to be. It wasn't as strong as she would like it to be. And because of all those things and the overwhelm that came with all that, she was actually thinking about going back to work for somebody else. But deep in her heart, that's not what she wanted. However, she felt like what she had wasn't sustainable. It was too high a price, even though she was bringing in $365,000 a year. And what we did is we got out her client list, we reviewed it together, and then we looked at who were some of her favorite clients. And they were the people that paid on time, they respected her, they never questioned her fees. And the surprising thing for Julie when we looked at that is they were all medical practitioners. They had clinics, they were sole practitioners, but they were all some type of in the medical field, healthcare field. So that's when a decision was made. And she decided to specialize in serving medical practices only. But it's not like you make the decision today and all of a sudden everything happens and changes tomorrow. The decision is a first step. And you might be thinking, so what about all my other clients? Didn't she lose money because she decided to move in a specific direction? And like I said, the decision was a first step, and the transition happened over 12 months of us working together. And what happened is her revenue went from $365,000 a year up to $440,000 per year. She was able to drop her hours from that 59, 60 hours a week down to 42. She was happy to have 42 hours a week. She served 20% fewer clients. That means that opened up capacity for her to do other things, including taking back some of her personal time. And the other thing is that the lifetime value of a client jumped. So instead of clients paying about $6,000 a year, they were now paying about $12,000. So when we look at the numbers, that meant that she had 21% more revenue. She had 28% less hours, and that's just her own hours, and she was serving fewer clients. So same team, same overhead. The only thing that changed is that she made a decision to work with a particular vertical. And let me explain a little bit about why this was a game changer for her, why it worked. First of all, her close rate with new clients, that increased from about 20% to 65% because she wasn't charging this cheapest rates. And it increased because she was able to now speak their language and they felt like she got them. So that created immediate rapport. They weren't as gun shy to be able to make that investment. The other thing is that the sales conversations were shorter because she was able to identify their specific needs because her clients were now all in the medical profession. So she knew about things that had to do with insurance billing and the challenges that come with that. Maybe about processing payments from patients, and also medical expense optimization. So she was able to talk specifically to what was going on in their practices. And the other thing is that these potential clients were no longer pushing back on pricing because they didn't see her as an accounting service who did their bookkeeping. She was offering solutions to the problems that they experienced, and some of the problems that were going on, they didn't even realize that she would understand. That was something that was like a light bulb moment for her, and it was so validating for her choice. But here's the part that really gets good. There was now referral momentum. So think about all the other people that are working with these medical practices. They were able to start referring to her. That meant that people that were writing insurance for medical practitioners, they were the people that were attorneys for them, and also people that were selling them medical equipment. So she became their go-to as far as offering bookkeeping, financial solutions to medical practices. And I just want to say, because of that, she was able to fill her funnel. She no longer had to chase clients and go to all these different network meetings or anything like that. She was able to now have clients come to her ready to take that next step forward, and just wanted to know how this worked. So the other thing is that Julie wasn't just doing more work for more money or the same work for more money. It also meant that we were able to now create package tiers for her so that she could now package her services, which actually increased her profit margin as well. And she was able to put some additional things in her diamond package, the highest package that she wasn't able to offer before because she didn't have the capacity to be able to do that. So she could now offer them mid-year tax planning. She could help them focus on medical deductions and do some other things that would help them have a stronger practice and improve their cash flow, including benchmarking against other practices in the area. And as a result of that, she's now known as the go-to financial advisor for medical practices. So she's now the go-to person. She's not a financial investment person, but she's someone that's going to help them in the finances of running their business. And that was something that was very, very valuable to her clients. So once again, it wasn't just about the money, the ROI. It is about, when you specialize and choose your vertical, it's about the positioning, the deeper impact, being able to now you having a firm that energizes you instead of one that drains you. But before you move in that direction, I just want to share some of the common mistakes that happen when specializing. And the first thing is you make a choice based on logic, not interest. So you pick a client because that's an industry that has money, but you don't really enjoy working in that particular industry. So maybe you pick retail because there's a lot of money in retail, but you don't really enjoy working with restaurants or things the way you have to help with inventory management. So that's the first thing. You need to pick one where you actually enjoy the work, the vertical, and the people. And the second one is you go too narrow, too fast. As I said, this isn't like you make a decision today and it all happens tomorrow. This is a process. It took Julie 12 months to be able to transition her firm. So niche does not mean that you want to be micro narrow as far as the vertical that you choose. You want to be able to be broad enough where you are able to be seen as a specialist, but not so broad that there's not really enough people that need your services. So you don't want to be the person that is, your niche is like organic dog treat makers in Denver, Colorado. So you don't want to be that narrow, but you can be in the niche of organic food products for canines and felines. So that is something to think about. People that are making products for dogs and cats that are organic, that would be a great niche to be able to look at. So you don't want to go too narrow, too fast. You want to start a little bit broader, and then you can become more selective over time. And then the third mistake is that you are cutting your client list too fast. So you don't need to fire all your current clients. This is a process. There's a transition strategy. And we want to be able to gradually phase out those clients that are the headaches that aren't a right fit for you, that you tolerated for much too long. And also be able to minimize onboarding clients that are maybe outside of your niche as well. So there's a strategy to that also. And once again, I'm not looking to limit your options. I'm looking to make it obvious for the people who are your quality clients that you are the solution for them. And then the other thing is that niche does not mean small. It means getting known. So think about that. You might worry, what if there aren't enough clients in one niche? Well, if you do the organic dog treat products only in Denver, Colorado, there might not be enough clients in that niche. Yes, we don't want to go that small. But the thing is that having a niche, a specialization, is not about being small. It's about getting known for who you serve and what you do. So when people say, I need a construction accountant, maybe it's your name that comes first to mind because that is where you specialize. But when you have your niche, it does a couple of things for you that a generalist firm doesn't really enjoy as much. You have Google visibility. So when someone's looking for your specific niche and the solutions that you offer, your content actually ranks higher in the Google searches. So that's something to think about. If you are creating content, it's so much easier to write directly to what your ideal clients need if you are a content creator also in putting information out there. Referral clarity. Now your name comes up because you're known for something specific as opposed to being a low-price technician. And the other thing is strategic networking. You don't have to go to all the network meetings and show up everywhere. You can speak at events that actually attract your exact quality clients. So that is something to think about. You don't need thousands and thousands of clients, but you do want to fill your firm with the right clients and realizing that you don't need as many to meet your revenue needs or being able to scale. So one other thing to think about as far as a fear is what if your niche dries up? Because industries do come and go, but I'm going to let you know that there's nothing about choosing the wrong niche because, first of all, niches do not usually vanish overnight. There's a process. It takes time. And also, if you're a specialist, you would likely see the trend early. And if you are worried about choosing the wrong niche because you realize that you don't enjoy working with them, then it's possible to continue your transition into one that's a better shift for you. So that is something to think about. And the other thing to look at is that there's ways to be able to move forward. So if this is something that interests you, you want to be able to move in this direction, then here are some things to look at as far as those first steps to be able to move in that direction of being known for a particular vertical and niche. First of all, do a client audit. Open up a spreadsheet, put all your clients on the list, go ahead and rank them, and let's figure out who your favorite clients are. And once you do that, then you can start to figure out what are some of the commonalities that they have. So that's the first thing, is doing a client audit. And the next thing is energy test. So think about who energizes you when you know that you're doing something for them, even if you're not having a meeting with them. You are just happy to do it for this client. And who are the ones that as soon as you see an email notification from them, it just throws off your whole day and you stress out and now you're distracted. So you want to be able to do that energy test of who is it that brings you up and who is it that just deflates all your energy and it drains away. The next thing is a release strategy. So you want to look at stop accepting clients who aren't a right fit for your firm, and the attrition will work itself out so that your firm is able to make that adjustment. The next thing is message alignment. Now that you have a niche, you want to be able to shift your messaging and maybe look at your online presence and speak directly to your particular niche and the challenges that they experience that you are able to solve for them. So that is one thing to look at also. And the other thing is, I want you to have some quick wins. So maybe write one piece of niche specific content this week that you can use at your network meeting, that you can post on social media, that you can send to your email list, and figure out what it is that will really resonate with them, and then show up where your ideal clients are looking. That could be virtually or it could be in person. So those are some 5 steps to be able to get started. Is do a client audit, do that energy test. That is an eye opener. Releasing clients by being able to let attrition work itself out. You don't have to fire anybody right now unless there's somebody you've been waiting to fire, and then that's something we can talk about too. You want to look at message alignment, start talking about the things that your new ideal client actually is experiencing, and then also maybe write something and use it at a network meeting or post it on social media and get it out there and share. So if this is something you've been thinking about, you know you want to specialize and you want to be able to get some assistance with getting started, then let's go ahead and talk during a strategy session. That's where we can go ahead and start to pinpoint where you're undervaluing your firm's services. We can map out a plan on how to increase the client value without overworking, and we can create a specialization transition plan in order to protect your revenue. Once again, this isn't about theory. It is about practical, proven strategy around how to be able to advance your firm, be able to increase your revenues, have quality clients that you enjoy working with, and not feeling like a slave to it because you're giving too many hours and it's taken a toll on some other things in your personal life. So if that interests you, then go to businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk to discuss how to increase your firm's ROI. And just realize this: specializing isn't about turning clients away. It's about making it easier for the right clients to find you and say yes faster to you and at higher fees. So once again, it's not about turning clients away. It's about giving the right clients the reason to say yes to you and engage in your firm's services. So let me know how this resonated with you, what you took away, what this maybe validated, or some action step that you're putting into place as a result of that. I would love to hear from you. Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, showing accounting firm owners how to be able to double their revenue, working half the time.